So I believe I got it going here. Next time I play a game, I might have to go through this whole situation again. But anyways, let's just get this started for now. Whole situation again. But anyways, let's just get this started for now. Whole situation again. But anyways, let's just get this. Okay. Sorry. So I was starting to hear a echo. Hmm. It's not showing me online. I think I'm online. Let me check it out again. It says I'm streaming. It says I'm streaming. Alright, I'm streaming, so... Okay. My phone's just slow. So, let's go ahead and get started. So, as I said before, and when I first tried to stream today, I just got this game in a Humble Bundle. I never heard of it before, but the thumbnail of the game on the Humble Bundle deal attracted me to it since I saw like old computers, or they kind of look like old computers in the thumbnail. And right around me I have 5 Apple IIs surrounding me. So, I'm really into old computers as well as old Macintoshes and stuff like that. So, I'd love to get an old IBM, stuff like that, pre-popular internet computers as well, but don't see any around my area right now at the moment. But anyway, so let's just get this started. I know this game isn't around computers, essentially. It's a really weird game, but it should be interesting. First time playing it. First reactions here.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Sounds exactly like my last job, with the exception
And then
of
one day, something very
exactly
peculiar
for it.
happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
That's exactly like one of my many jobs I've had. There was one job I had where there was a 2 or 3 day stretch where all I did was click yes for 8 hours a day. I'm not even joking. There was a time, this was around 2008, where all I did was click yes. So I just went in and out of Windows on the Stanley Parable game, and now I'm on a black screen. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, for 2 or 3 days straight, I clicked yes on a web page, just scrolling down, yes, yes, yes. It was a link exchange website, and then we put all those links on our websites. Really dumb kind of SEO tactics, and I even told my boss, like, you know, I'm gonna kill myself if you keep making me do this. You know, it's like. Hindsight, you know, knowing what I know now, I could have easily have automated it, but at the time, that's all I knew. So, alright, before I keep playing, I just want to pull up on my phone, make sure I'm seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, while it's waiting.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
I don't care if it advances the story in any way. I'm exploring. I'm an explorer. So first thing I thought of when I saw this game, well, first thing I thought of was like, ooh, old computers. I'm interested in that. When I saw the thumbnail of it. Second thing I thought of was, this would be a really cool VR game, you know, for like Oculus or Vive or, you know, PSVR, which is the one I own. So I hope they make this like a PSVR game or virtual reality game. That'd be cool. Seems perfect for it. Not too much going on. PSVR, which is the one I own. So I think they make this like a PSVR game, virtual reality game. Sorry, I was just making sure that the audio is right. I hear my mouse clicking a lot, so let me know if that's too annoying. I can try to plug in some headphones for next time, because I'd have to reset that up for headphones if I did that now. So.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yeah, those windows on those computer screens kind of reminds me of an Apple II GS. Just what's on my desk here. I need to fix the floppy drive in that one though, because yeah, it's a floppy-driven computer because I don't have a hard drive in it. Surprisingly.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
So my last job, they actually had free sodas, which I drink a
Yes,
ton of them.
really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
I think like he's mocking me somehow.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Oh wow. I just got a message that somebody really close to my house, actually, that the local news is actually on my street, just around the block, or it's on my block. The local news is on my block, so I'm gonna open up the window here for a second and see if I can see anything crazy. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I don't see anything. It must have happened earlier. Sorry, I'm just texting my wife, telling her I don't see anything outside. Huh, that's crazy. Hmm. You know, it's really bad, but on the other side of my block, there was a murder a year or two ago. It's really sad, but yeah, don't really want to talk about it too much. But it's pretty sad that murder. But it's a lot of stuff happening around my
Stanley was
neighborhood.
so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Incredibly, it wasn't 5 years ago. So I've been laid off like 3 or 4 times now, maybe 3 times. Each time sucks. Each time sucks. Never actually been fired. One job, I was getting the impression they might actually let me go, not just lay me off, but like let me go or something. Maybe I guess they would have to lay me off because I didn't really do anything bad. But yeah, thankfully I was
Look,
never
Stanley, I
fired.
think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot
But I
here.
quit that
I'm
job.
not your
That
enemy,
was
really, I'm not.
kicking her
I
down.
realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for
That was
me,
weird.
I'm asking for her.
Her?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
She's been waiting. Okay. They need to make a game just like this, but there's actually people here, and it's like characters from The Office. Like Michael Scott could be here, and Pam, whoever else is in that show. Whoa.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
That's creepy, man.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
I
Now
thought about
he's
not
pushing
putting
a
it.
button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
You know what? Go to hell. Q. This is pretty much my life in a nutshell before I met my wife. I was doing jobs like for 2 or 3 days straight. I'd clicked nothing but the letter yes. The letter yes. The word yes. And that wasn't even the worst thing I did there. One time at this job, we wanted to create like a surgery video site, so I had to look up several pictures of like diseases and sexual body parts. It was really weird, and then we had to put them on our own surgery video website. Oh man, it was awful. It was so awful. Actually, at one point, because I worked in the same office as my boss, because it was like a startup company. He peeked over. He's like, "Hey, Billy, can you do such and such and such?" And like on my screen, I kid you not, is like a big picture of like a penis with like all these like warts on it and stuff. And then he just burst out laughing. He's like, "Oh my God, what the hell is that?" And I told him like, "Hey man, you gave me this list. You gave me this list of pictures to download and put it on our website. Like, I don't want to do this. This is what you told me to do. Like, trust me, I I do not want this picture to be on here. I have nightmares tonight." So the clicking yes for 3 days straight, that wasn't even the worst thing I did there. But anyway, so yeah, that job reminds me a lot of this. But there was still some fun times. But I don't think I can leave the room until I press the letter F.
But in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown. fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
God, this is almost too close to home.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
You know what these cubicle walls remind me of? Actually, a few different work environments, but specifically when I was working for a local newspaper company. Yeah, I actually, and I'll tell you this. I made the this was October, and I made yeah, I was making a joke, but I was like half serious at the same time. Um, Made a joke to this one guy next to me. Said to him, like, hey, we don't even have to decorate for Halloween around here, guys, because with all this gray that's all surrounding us, it kind of looks like death already. And then I swear to God, I was laid off like a day later or something. Like, I wonder, like, I really hope like my manager or something wasn't listening to that and was like, we got to get him the hell out of here or something. But like, I seriously was just making a joke. I was just like, I don't, like, I don't care, like, I was just making a stupid joke, but I mean, but it worked out in the end anyway, because it took me a couple of months to find a new place to work, and then at that place I made almost 10 grand more, so worked out in the end. Yeah, I'm at somewhat of a similar situation at the moment, but haven't found my next spot yet. But yeah, looking at these work environments here in this video game, it just reminds me of what I could be signing up for in my next opportunity. Hopefully not, but I have a lot more responsibilities these days, so I just need to get something. I'll work in a closet if I have to at this point.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
And I'm dead. I have achievements enabled, so I thought seeing one ending would get me something. Guess not. There we go.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had
He's got a
years
big
gone
desk.
by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't paying attention like I should have been at that moment. I was getting a beer. Debating whether or not I want to share this video on my YouTube channel. I've said some personal thing, but oh well. One second. Yeah, I won't text him. It is my
Stanley stood for a long time in one spot. It's part of a game. He likes to see how long he can go without dying. So far, he's doing excellent. And if he just stays right where he is, I'm sure he'll keep up that good momentum. Let's observe the genius at work.
Wow. I wonder what my Twitch channel is anyway. Sorry, 1 second. Just going to share that I'm playing this game in one of my local retro gaming groups. See if I can get anybody in here. Alright, alright, alright. Appreciate that.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
Person has solitaire playing, it looks like. Oh man.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Oh man, let's see what's going on in here. Get Chris out of the broom closet. Targets push for funding. See, for people who never had like a straight up office job like this, it might be like, oh my god, this looks awful. I can't believe anybody would do something like this. Like, No, I actually do get comfortable in these really like crappy looking environments for some reason. Like you do actually get comfortable in it, and a lot of it does have to do with like the people you meet as well.
Stanley just stood there doing nothing at all. He seems to think I have nothing better to do with my time than to sit around and describe every fascinating little detail of his inability to do anything.
Oh man.
This is why Stanley and I are on such good terms.
Wow. Actually, the thing, out of all of the cubicle jobs I've had, the thing I hate the absolute most is sitting in a meeting room like this. This is the thing I hate the most because it reminds me of school. And I hate school. I don't like school at all. So yeah, the part of the day I didn't like the most was sitting in these meeting rooms. No, get-togethers were fine and stuff. It was actually meetings. That was the part of the day I hated the most. But yeah, of course, being stressed about any big project, that was, I would probably say on equal terms, something I feel like I probably couldn't get done, and I was really scared about, or being bored in one of these meeting rooms. Yeah. Fire paper. Papers are too synergized. You know what I should have done? Because I actually, in my last job, I was laid off from. I was given the opportunity, oh, you can work till the end of the week if you want. What I should have done is, before I left, I should have downloaded this game and just left it on my computer and just left the computer on. I should have downloaded that game onto this computer and just left the computer on and walked out. That would have been great. Although I'm pretty sure we probably had some sort of firewalls or something like that in there to prevent me from installing applications on there. But I never really tried. At least not with games. Alright. I hate meetings. I'm getting out of this room.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Actually, everything here looks more interesting than everything else in the other rooms.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet.
Oh,
No
God.
reason to still be here. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
God, I was running up 17 flights of stairs. My last job, just, to try to stay fit and all that stuff. This reminds me of that crap. The stairs look just like these. Except towards this top of the stairs, there was a lot of stupid cartoon characters saying, "Oh, you're gonna make it," blah 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 blah. Yeah, I love the look of these old computers. Of course, I would not feel that way if I was tasked with using them every day for work. Oh well.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
It's funny. They need to make this a VR game. I think it would sell really well. I'm surprised those don't work. Guess we're going downstairs. I'm impressed with this game so far. I'm enjoying this game so far.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Go mind control facility.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley
It's like the
thought to
Matrix.
himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers, that the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Crazy. And 427? Yeah, I think that's me.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all. And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
I got an achievement unlocked. Beat the game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like the best ending you can probably get. That's cool. Mark that off the list. I can actually say I beat it, technically.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
I want to turn the mind control unit on.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Walk downstairs.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. "I'm dreaming!" he yelled. "This is all a dream." Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and
Weird.
it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
That was creepy, man.
And everything went black.
That was creepy.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Wow. It's pretty damn deep. If I worked on this game, I'd probably need therapy after I was done with it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
Pretty
missed a
cool
memo.
endings, though. Definitely interesting endings.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I've got the feeling. Extreme bathrooms. Looks like a magazine my dad might have in his bathroom. Extreme bathrooms. Oh. Stanley Parable game just like exited for some reason. There we go. I'm back. I must have like got like a Facebook message or something. I don't know what that was about. I don't know if that pixelation's there on purpose or if it's part of my settings. I put bad settings. Oh. Dun, 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 dun. Doesn't make a difference either way. It's weird.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Yeah, this game is good, but I think it would be better with the Xenomorph. But you could say that about any history. Should I turn on the mind control or should I just escape? I think I'll just escape. Actually,
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
yeah, I'm gonna escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Wow.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Oh, this is scary.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Whoa.
When every path you can walk has been created
Crazy.
for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit
That's
start?
awesome. See, that's what I want in my man cave. I want Billy's computer, and it's all like on its own podium and everything, on a pedestal. Pretty neat. Office layout. This is a cool ending. I thought this ending was going to be boring, but no, it's pretty cool. Yeah, this even these computers have floppy drives on them. It's like one 5 1/4 inch and one 3.5. Office. It's pretty sweet. My credits. Hmm. So it used to be just like an actual side of the wall was titled escape on top of the door. Hmm. Hmm. The game's alpha. Right. There's some Tron over there. So yeah, I saw somebody else I was friends with played the HD remix version of this game. So I guess I need to check that out. See how much that cost. Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Hmm.
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now. It'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time.
Dead. Wonder if what quit would have done. Might have to replay that. Oh, you think this is the HD remix? Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw something about a Half-Life 2 mod. But I've actually never played Half-Life, which is blasphemous, I know. I really need to. Hopefully the game didn't freeze on me again. I think it's just frozen. Or I think it's just processing, I suppose. Yeah, thanks for joining, though. Maybe if I bust out my VR aim rifle, better turn on. Hmm. Man. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah, because I thought this game would be really weird, so I thought, like, oh, I should record myself somehow doing it. I'll probably transfer this to my YouTube channel, but yeah. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Oh, I have to begin the game again? Because I guess because I died. Okay. Yeah. That would have been nice if they told me that. New saved game. Yeah, I wonder... Oh, this is the only ending where you have to do a hard reset. I was curious about that because the lady narrator was like, you can still quit the game. Click escape and go to quit and click quit. And I'm like, that's gonna quit the actual game. So, alright, begin the game again. Yeah, I appreciate you telling me that. I don't know what I was gonna do if I didn't hear that. Alright, let's try to do the mind control ending.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So I think I've seen like 3 or 4
Yet there was
endings so
not a
far.
single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was
Can't
too
remember it.
much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible to guess blindly, ever. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
So yeah, sorry, I just wanted to let the narrator finish there, but yeah, I am kind of tired. Didn't sleep too much last night, and I kind of dozed off for 2 or 3 seconds on the last playthrough, unfortunately, but uh, yeah, I've seen probably 3 or 4 endings by now. I saw the one where he died and went downstairs and he died. That was pretty crazy. There was another one where they had me like enter a room and they said no one loves you or something, and then I actually saw the final ending, which was like the game over, kind of like you beat the game ending, because I got an achievement for it. Yeah, I got these like LEDs going on behind me, but if the game's like on like a bright screen, then it lights up my face pretty well, but that's not the case, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my actual light. Yeah, turn on my actual light. Hopefully that helps keep me awake too. Yeah, what time is it? It's like almost midnight. Yeah, I should probably get to bed soon, but I'll see this ending. Maybe one more too. I don't know.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
That's what I did before.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible
Yeah,
secret
really
did this
tired.
place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength
Can't argue
to
with
find
that.
out?
Yeah, my son woke up at like 4 in the morning last night, and my 2-year-old son woke up at like 4 in the morning, and he was just all over the place, and I went to bed like around 2, so I really didn't get much sleep at all. So yeah, I need to make up for that tonight.
Now the monitors jumped to life.
I'm really glad I got this game.
Each bore the number
I got
of
this
an
game
employee in the building.
really discounted heavily on humblebundle.com.
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen.
$5.60-something, you get this game for free along with like 4 or 5 other games. Can't beat that. Because it's like a $10 or $15 game retail. So I highly recommend humblebundle.com for that. They're not paying me or anything, of course, because I'm no one, but still. And even if you already own this game, you could give this game to somebody else and then just, still do the Humble Bundle to get the other games, because $10 you get everything. You got Day of the Tentacle, which I already had on PS4 and PS Vita, but it's like, well, I didn't have it on PC. Borderlands prequel, which I didn't have at all. I already had Her Story in 80 Days. Worms, I didn't have the new Worms game. I really loved Worms in the Dreamcast, so glad to have that again. So yeah, just for Worms, the Borderlands, Day of the Tentacle on the PC, and this game, it totally worth it for $10. So, let me go over here. But yeah, I was saying on my first playthrough, like, this is really crazy right here. Be awesome in VR. They need to make this game for VR.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his
I know,
boring
right?
job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Do I know you by chance? Sorry, because yeah, I shared this link on some social networks as well, trying to get some people in. So I was just curious if I knew you personally. Yeah, I have the PSVR. I don't have Oculus or Vive, unfortunately, but I have PSVR and it's amazing. I really like it. Um, I thought about getting Star Trek for today, but you know, I just couldn't make it out to the store or anything. But I have a lot of coupons and discounts and stuff to get it for cheap. So I plan on getting Star Trek soon. But I have Farpoint,
No, he refused to believe it. He
so
couldn't
I'll be
accept
playing that
it.
again
His
soon.
own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Was it even possible?
Farpoint is
Had he truly
amazing.
spent his
It's awesome.
entire life utterly blind to the world?
It's kind of freaky though, because like spiders are flying at your head. But once you get past that, it's really cool.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
I actually
As the cold
I have a
reality
funny
of his
story how I
past
was able
began
to
to sink
afford
in,
PSVR.
Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he
Yeah,
would
this is pretty
dismantle
cool
the
down here.
controls once and for all.
Yeah, so you know, I had to get a new fridge because my fridge was having issues. Stuff was going on with it. The water wasn't working. And it even like flooded part of my kitchen because whatever the stupid original owners did, they put a water filter on the back of the fridge, and it still needed a water filter inside the fridge. So I never knew there was a water filter on the back of the fridge because there shouldn't have been one there to begin with because there was already one in the front. So anyway, so because I didn't know that, then there was a water leak and messed up my counter or my anyway. So long story short, thankfully I was able to get that fixed for cheap and had to get a new fridge anyway. Even though that fridge wasn't completely broken, but still, wife wanted a new fridge, and so we got the new fridge, and there was a slight dent in it. Um, I could only see it on the side, and I was like, "Hey, what's up with this?" I was thinking they'd get me like $30 off or something. No, the delivery guy called up Best Buy and we're like, "Oh, we'll give you, um, 400 something dollars uh, if you keep the fridge." I was like, "Hell yeah, all right." And I was thinking like, "Oh, well, I'll just throw that right back into the cost of the fridge." And no, they actually gave it to me as a gift card. So I was like, "Oh, well, if they're already going to give it to me as a gift card, I might as well just use this on the PSVR." So that's what I did. I used part of it on the PSVR and the other part of it on a new modem and internet router. And yeah, that's how I was able to afford the PSVR and bought it launch night.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his
Yeah,
duty, his
$400
obligation, to
exactly.
put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Yeah, so if you ever get like a new fridge or something or any sort of piece of furniture and they're delivering it to you, inspect that thing all over and pay attention to the slightest details because you could get a ridiculous discount. Yeah. Okay, well, I really appreciate you tuning in to the stream then, man. Yeah, because I've done the streaming thing a bit off and on, but I never get anybody in. But I think what it is people have their favorite games, and they just search for those. If I randomly turn on like some Xbox One game or a PS4 game or something, or even a PC game that people don't usually play, then nobody knows I'm playing it because I don't have a built-in follower base yet. So I really need to play some games people like and build up people I know that way. So I'm going to turn this on because last time I turned it off.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
I
After they
did.
kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Yes, I did.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In
Holy
the event
crap.
that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification,
What?
nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much
What?
better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going. What all this means, I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers
What?
are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're going to die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
I'm gonna die.
Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left.
I'm
But
gonna
I'm
die.
enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
Where's
Oh,
the
dear
yellow
me,
button?
what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button. Or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
I'm dead. Oh well, yeah. Thanks for tuning in, man. Yeah, stream schedule is if I'm going to stream, I wish I had more hard schedule, but if I'm gonna stream, it's gonna be around 10:30 at night Central time, so like Chicago time. I'm in Houston, but I'm on Chicago time, so it's gonna be around 10:30, and it's gonna be just kind of random nights at the moment. But hopefully I can stream again tomorrow. I'd like to play more of this game for sure. yeah. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I think I saw you followed me, so I really appreciate that as well. So, yeah, thanks a lot. General, uh, Kenya? Kenya? Let me know if I'm pronouncing that
When Stanley
incorrectly.
came to a set of
But
two open doors,
yeah,
he entered
appreciate
the
it, man.
door on his left.
Should I do the right now? Do the right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the
Keen
first
eye.
open door
Okay,
on his
sorry.
left.
Sorry. Keen eye. General Keen eye.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section,
Ooh,
walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I don't remember this part. I'll go down here. Cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Have a good night.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Whoa. He's gonna run me over. Whoa.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
That's pretty funny.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what?
Whoa.
No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. We were right here
Okay.
just a minute ago. I know for
Sorry,
sure
Keen
it's
eye.
here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure.
I was
Come,
gonna turn the
Stanley.
game off, I
Let's
swear, but
find the story.
this is a fun game. Yeah, I just kind of like, yeah, I'll turn it off. Like, no, it's actually I thought it would be a boring game, but it's or become boring soon, but I'm actually finding new things to do in it, surprisingly. So yeah, it's addicting. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, I'll try to turn it off soon because I do need to get to bed. But
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before.
yeah.
Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and
Oh,
over again.
okay.
But it's got to be
Thanks.
better than this.
It is
Okay,
engrossing.
let's give it a shot. Why not?
I'll keep it on a somewhat lower level.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, that's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Yeah. Yeah. All we're missing is a alien xenomorph. Here, hide under the desk or the closet or something. What? Maybe I'll turn around here. Can't remember where my office is.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
What?
Now this, well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
Yay!
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
I don't know if I didn't follow the line, but I
You
really
see,
want to see it.
the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure
What
where I
the
was
hell?
going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
This must have been what you're talking about. The volume. What the hell? Yeah, I'm very impressed with this game, actually. It's weird.
Wait, cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Yeah, I took a wrong turn.
No, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Jeez. Game just keeps going and going.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
I want an alien xenomorph.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
No. Trusted that line. Where
A
the hell?
choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Alright, here we go.
Oh, hold up, what's this?
Mm.
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this?
I have a
Is it really?
2-year-old boy, and I have
It
another
can't be. I don't want it
boy
to be. I
about
don't
to be
want the game
born
to keep
July
restarting.
1st,
I don't want
so
to forget what's going on.
should be
I don't
fun.
want to be trapped like this. I won't restart
Yeah,
the game. I
thanks
won't do it. I won't
for
do it.
asking.
I won't do it. And the timer stopped. Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey. Though they're
Yep.
always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Whoa. That was weird. Sounded like a fax machine or something. Yeah, recently he's had a lot of trouble
all of his
sleeping,
co-workers were
so
gone. What did it
unfortunately.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Man.
was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Trying to do something different. I was just in here earlier. What about if I walk backwards? Would that take me there? Oh, they're not gonna let me walk backwards. Oh man.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean, he wondered. Desperate for answers, he began turning the room over looking for clues that might unravel the situation, until at last he discovered a keypad behind the boss's desk. But alas, no code. For this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Okay. Let's see if we can do anything. Yeah, when I worked at a newspaper company, they had an elevator kind of like one of these things. These old-fashioned type elevators. Not like super old-fashioned, but you know, not like a normal elevator.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I guess I'm going to be repeating an ending here.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Is my son loud? Oh, he can be, especially, you know, he got the baby monitor loud, and I'm in a like a two-story house, so we could hear him if we had the baby monitor off, but it's you know, just in case, we always make sure to have it on. But yeah, they can get pretty dang loud. That's for sure. And he likes to be with his mom more than me at night, of
Now
course.
the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee.
Oh, are the elevators loud?
Stanley's
Sorry.
co-workers. That the lives of so
Yeah,
many
yeah, in the
individuals
old-fashioned
reduced
type
to images
elevators.
on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant
It's
nothing.
really loud when the elevator opens, that's for sure. But I never actually took it. I was a little bit scared too. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool
This mind
though.
control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
Because
Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the
you know,
only
at this
reason he was
place,
happy with his boring job?
you know, it's a local
That his
newspaper company. A lot
emotions
of
had been
famous
manipulated
reporters
to accept it
were there, and they would
finally?
try to take the back entrance and exit into the building for whatever reason. So every once in a while, I'd be in an elevator with some pretty well-known
No, he refused to believe
reporters,
it. He couldn't accept it.
and
His
part
own
of it was
life
around like
in
the
someone
old
else's
printing
control?
press and stuff.
Never. It was unthinkable.
So yeah,
Wasn't it?
I always liked going
Was
in through
it
the
even
back
possible?
entrance. It was just a little
Had
bit
he
quicker,
truly
and
spent his entire
you could see the
life
old printing
utterly
press area, and
blind
that
to
was
the
always pretty
world?
neat. But they blew that whole building up now. Now they're in a whole nother side of town, unfortunately. It's a pretty
Here was the proof. The
good
heart
thing
of
of
the
history
operation.
there that they blew up,
Controls
unfortunately.
labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded
Building
from
was
this
there for
very
like
place. And as the cold reality of his
70, 80
past
years,
began to
maybe
sink in,
something crazy like that.
Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
If I turn off this forward button. Ah, here we go. 1, 2. I don't know where 3 is. Oh, the building. They blew it up because it was a really old building. With this building, it had a cool story behind. I don't know where the number 3 is here. They kept buying more properties on the same block. I'll just hit 4. And they just kept adding on to it. So you'd walk in one side of the building, and without even taking any stairs, you all of a sudden would be up like two more stories on the other side of the building. So it was just a really weird building. Like part of it used to be a theater, and the other part of it used to be something else, like an apartment complex or a hotel or something. And I don't know about apartment complex, but yeah, it was just like it was one of those buildings that were just kind of like multiple buildings fused into one. Like the front of the building could get up to like the 11th or 12th floor, and the back of it could only get up to the 6th floor. And I think property downtown is really crazy anyway, so they wanted to move to outside of downtown to a newer type building. Still not that new, but still. And that's part of the reason why they blew it up, because it
When
was
at
just,
last he found the source of the room's
yeah,
power,
poorly planned
he knew it
additions,
was his
exactly.
duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
I'm gonna hit off just to get some closure on the game for right now.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge
Matters
or
to
even
me.
power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's
Whatever
I
life
got a really
lives,
crazy looking
it will
room.
be his.
Uh,
And that was all he needed to know. It was
but I
perhaps
just
the only thing
usually around
worth knowing.
11ish, I start to get
Stanley
really sleepy,
stepped
but then I
through
get
the
my
open
second
door.
wind in. But I'll try to pan around here. But so I have a shelf full of weird, old PC and Apple software. I got old computers right in front of me here. Apple 2GS, Apple IIe, Mac SE30, Apple II Plus. I got a projector hanging from the room, and some old consoles that plug into it. Then I have my guitars and a Vectrex. And, yeah, I need to record a man cave video sometime soon. And yeah, behind me I have my 4K TV and a bunch of like, random like Alien, Godzilla, and Star Wars toys on the top shelf. Yeah, it's oh, and this is like a bar top arcade machine. I have a retro Pi in there, and I want to design it to look like an old computer from like Fallout or Alien Isolation or something. Yeah, and that's kind of what I got going on in this room. But yeah, I'll try to record a man cave video sometime soon and put on my YouTube channel, Virtual Robots Revolt. That's the channel name, Virtual Robots Revolt. One word. So, but yeah, um, as soon as I walk through here, I'm probably gonna. Yeah, it's a retro room. I had a friend walk in the other day, and he's like, "Man, it's like a blast from the past
Stanley
walking in
felt
here."
the cool breeze upon his skin,
My
a
wife hates
feeling
it.
of liberation.
She hates it, but I like it.
The immense possibility of the new
So
path
many
before him.
monitors, that is right.
This was
A lot of
exactly the
things aren't
way,
plugged in,
right
thankfully.
now, that
But some
things were
are,
meant
that's
to
for
happen.
sure.
And Stanley was happy.
Old computers work. I can even get software from the internet and get it to work on these old computers using multiple cables, and I have a whole bunch of old floppy disks here, and I can get them onto floppy disks. So they're not just like paperweights essentially. Well, a couple of them I do need to fix, but the rest of them, yeah, they work, which is pretty fun. Um, Whoa, now the
All
rooms
of
are
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
the rooms
Stanley
are
decided to
closed.
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, actually, this is my normal spot. Oh man, I just want to keep playing.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Go left. Oh yeah, I just went left. 426. Yeah. I'm gonna go right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
Can I go
just to
back?
admire it.
No, I'm stuck. Stuck. No.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been
Blue room
neglecting,
at the beginning
Stanley.
is part of
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to
RNG.
make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let
What do you
her back
mean
into your life. She's
part
been
of the
waiting.
ring?
That's her, Stanley.
This part was really freaky. Weird. Earlier, I thought it was really weird.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm
A
trying to make a
random
point
number
here, Stanley.
generated.
I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
No.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now
Alright,
he's
man.
pushing
Yeah,
a
good
button.
night. Sorry, I'm
Now
gonna turn this
he's
off.
eating lunch.
Hopefully, after I'm
Now
done with
he's
this
going
scene.
home. Now he's
Yeah.
coming back to work.
Thanks a lot for
One
staying
might even
on
feel
even
sorry for
longer. I
him,
really
except that
appreciate it.
he's
Yep.
chosen this life.
Have a good night. Till next time.
But in
Hopefully
his
I'll be
mind,
on again tomorrow
in
night.
his mind,
Or
he
the
can
night
go on
after that.
fantastic adventures.
Tomorrow night or the night after
From
that.
behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind
Yeah, I'll
each
be
door.
around
The mere
10:30
thought that his
or 11
decisions would
when
mean
I'm
something was
be doing
almost
my
too
streams Central
wonderful to
Time.
behold. As he wandered through this
Appreciate
fantasy
it.
world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
I think I have to.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, Maybe this time you'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
All right. Of course, it's 12:48. All right. Peace out, guys. Have a good night. Laters.